classic example of what we'll call mission creep by the government. So I've taken this from the Birmingham Mail, very good article, encourage people to go and have a look at it. The DWP confirms plans to check bank accounts to stop 1.3 billion in benefit fraud. Millions of people could see their accounts checked by the government in a fresh crackdown on benefit cheats. And yep, they're taking steps to get into people's bank accounts. Now, I believe Mike's touched on this in an earlier UK column news, but I just want to add a bit more detail to it. So in the article, there was a response by the Department for Work and Pensions, which was anonymous, of course. We're already cracking down on those who try to exploit the welfare system in a push to save the taxpayer 1.3 billion in the next year. We're ramping up our plans to root out fraud through our Fighting Fraud in the Welfare System plan, and we're deploying trained specialists to review millions of universal credit claims, as well as bringing forward new legislation to boost access to data held by third parties, such as banks where we suspect fraud. Now, I'm a bit of a cynic on this because I remember many years ago they said when we go digital, there will be no fraud. But let's carry on with where the bill's going to take us. And under the bill, these are the key areas. They're going to be targeting misrepresenting earnings, include self-employed earnings, failure to declare underreporting capital that would affect benefits, entitlements, failing to declare a partner contributing to the household, incorrect reporting of housing costs, and failing to declare moving abroad or dishonestly applying for benefits while living abroad. Now, of course, we have some members of the government who say there's nothing to worry about. I've taken a quote from Sir John Whittingdale here. He's Minister of State, Media, Tourism and Creative Industries, but for some reason he was quite outspoken on this bill. But he says it's specifically about means-related benefit claimants to ensure they're eligible for the benefits they're currently claiming. In doing that, it will save the taxpayer a considerable amount of money from the identification and avoidance of fraud. But here's Sir Steven Tinness, and he was not convinced about this. He said this measure will give the government the right to inspect the bank account of anyone who claims a state pension. So all of us, actually, every single one of us, this measure will give the government the right to look into our bank account at some point during our lives without suspecting that we have ever done anything wrong, without telling us that they are doing it. And we should have a little video clip here with him talking and giving his concerns.
Sir Steven Tinness.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. I rise to speak very specifically on New Clause 34, Government New Clause 34, and the connected government amendments, which, as we've been reminded, give the ministers power to inspect the bank accounts of anyone claiming a social security benefit. And I think it's been confirmed that that includes child benefit, state pension, as well as universal credit and all the others. Extremely wide powers being given to ministers. The Minister told us that this measure is expected to save some £500 million over the next 5 years. I was pleased that a minister from the DWP was present at the start of the debate, although he's not in his place now, so the department isn't hearing the concerns being expressed in this debate about this measure. And my right honourable friend on the front bench told us that that minister isn't speaking in the debate, so we're not going to be hearing what the DWP thinks about these concerns at all. My right honourable friend also told us, and I hadn't seen this assurance, that these powers are not going to be used for a few years. And so I'm completely, if that's correct, I'm completely mystified why this is being done in this way. If actually we had a few years to get these powers in place, why didn't the government wait until there was an appropriate legislation which could be properly scrutinised, rather than bringing them forward now with zero scrutiny and no opportunity for common scrutiny? There will no doubt be scrutiny in the other place, but surely a measure of this kind ought to have scrutiny in this House.
So very quiet in his delivery, but this man is raising some really important points. And if we want to echo how serious these proposals are, let's come to David Davis. He had this to say. I think everybody in the House understands the importance of getting it right. We all want to stop the fraud that takes place in the current state system. That being said, this is the only time that I am aware of where the state seeks a right to put people under surveillance without prior suspicion. Therefore, this has to be restricted very carefully.